This video will demonstrate how to factor a trinomial. Consider the trinomial 3z cubed minus 21z squared plus 18z. In all cases, you want to factor out the greatest common factor first. Notice each term is divisible by 3, and also each term is divisible by z. So we can actually factor out a 3z. Now, what would be left is z squared for the first term minus 7z for the second term plus 6 for our last term. Now let's double check, think backwards. 3z times z squared is 3z cubed. 3z times negative 7z is negative 21z squared. 3z times plus 6 is 18z, positive. Okay, now the 3z must remain in the answer, but we just keep it out on the left and bring it down for the ride. Now I'm looking inside the parentheses here. I have z squared minus 7z plus 6. So we need to find two numbers whose product is 6 and whose sum is negative 7. Okay, let the signs help us first of all. The product has to be positive, therefore the two numbers have to be the same sign. The sum has to be negative, therefore the two numbers that we're looking for have to both be negative. So let's think of some options. Negative 6 times negative 1. The sum of negative 6 plus negative 1 is negative 7. We don't need to go any further because negative 6 and negative 1 are the numbers that we're looking for. Let me just demonstrate. If you thought of using negative 3 and negative 2 first, that sum is negative 5. So that combination does not work. Alright, so now what we do is we continue writing 3z. However, we're going to set up two sets of parentheses. We only automatically go to the two sets of parentheses like this if the leading coefficient inside the parentheses here, the leading coefficient of our trinomial is a 1. Because it has to be z and z in this case as the first terms of our binomials. Now we use those two numbers, minus 6, minus 1. Now, this should be the answer. I'm going to circle it, well, put a box around it, as the answer, but we should always check. So let's start checking by distributing the 3z first. 3z times z, 3z squared. 3z times negative 6, negative 18z. Now bring down the z minus 1. Let's use FOIL and see what happens here. 3z squared times z, 3z cubed. 3z squared times negative 1 minus 3z squared. Negative 18z times z minus 18z. Negative 18z times negative 1 plus 18z. Combining the middle terms, 3z squared minus 3z cubed minus 21z squared plus 18z. See what happens when you go too fast. So let's check the original problem and see if we're back where we started. 3z cubed minus 21z squared plus 18z. 3z cubed minus 21z squared plus 18z. We got it. Alrighty.